Comedian Patton Oswalt, you guys probably heard about this. He took 3 months, basically the entire summer, off of social media, and he explained why in a Time magazine article that came out this week. In part, he said, what if the next fashionable rebellion from whatever generation rears its head after the millennials is to become unlinked, only reachable face to face? Remember how in the Matrix mankind had become batteries so the machines could just feed off us? Well, it's happening now, just 140 words at a time. I remember when I got out of college in '99, I was having a conversation with a friend of mine. We were on a bus somewhere, and we were talking about the meaning of life, the whole thing. I was smoking a lot of pot at the time, and I told him everything I thought about life, and he goes, "Dude, you just told me the plot to The Matrix." but I hadn't seen The Matrix. But that's what I was talking about. That we are one day just going to be batteries for this. It's going to become that important because this needs us to just.
We make 100 watts of energy in each body, so there you go. We're already a battery.
So I don't think that's going to run the 5.5. That might be a problem.
That's going to be the problem. You're really obsessed with this 5.5.
You're going to have to chain 3 or 4.
Oh, again, if we can go tight on these thumbs. You know, this is my cross to bear.
Oh yeah.
Yeah, look at that. I could eat 4 of those on the hour, and it still wouldn't equal this toe jam that's happening right here. It's a giant thumb. Yeah. It's a giant thumb. You're welcome, America.
Well, we know what we're making the GIF out of this week for the show.
The thumb.
The thumb. The thumb. What, do you think, though, this unlinked idea, that's what you're talking about, that maybe this next generation, after, we had the nude hack this week and the NSA, and we're all so sick of it. And yet we love it, but we're all so sick of it, too, that maybe the next generation is kind of going to be like...
But how will we tell everyone we're unlinking?
Yeah, and therein lies the right.
And we all love Patton. Patton is terrific. He's such a great guy, such a great comedian. But I read that whole article. He was like, I took 3 months off, but I checked in on Facebook. I learned. And I didn't do any Twitter, but I liked some of my friends' things who were doing Kickstarter Indiegogo. So I'm like, okay, so we took 3 months off, or we just kind of lurked for 3 months? And that's what he did. So what's the point? The point is that we are in a digital quicksand. And those of us that are old enough, sorry to sound like that guy, but I remember the analog. It's analog. If we don't get back to some form of analog, meeting with people, like the poly, getting together face to face and lessening the amount of times where people pull their stupid phone to check their stupid whatevers, we're in big trouble. It's generational, and the next generation's not going to, without something major like the inability to be able to transmit because our network's out, electricity going away, it's not going to get better. So I don't know if that's a
slightly
positive.
What you're doing with the poly, because I think it's really cool, and it's one of the things that by me being in LA has allowed me to put this down, because I don't do this when I'm there. So can you just explain a little bit of what you're doing?
I've been lucky enough to have an incredible group of artists and people come into my life, comedians, musicians, writers, people like you, and we hang out. We have, we meet once a month or so, very casual party atmosphere. And we just connect. We have all these, and yes, we'll bring it out if we need to Google something, because we do that, so no brain left. But it's a connection of people, and
but even the name itself, Poly
the Mind. Okay, yeah. So the Poly Mind came about because we have all these voices in our head, and I have all the voices in my head, and I originally made it as like a blog kind of a title. The Poly Mind Commune is the thing in my head, and what it is it's diversity. It's diversity of perspective. It's diversity of people, and it's what makes the world go round, actually. And part of this is that we've been talking about the whole show. Lack of diversity happens through this, because you pick your Twitter feed, you pick your friends on Facebook, and you pick what channel you get your news from. So, and there's something about just hanging out with people and getting to know people in the flesh.
It's important because people don't understand what's happening because they're digital. They don't understand the lack of humanity, the loss of human connection. I mean, in all sincerity, if you ever wanted to, let's say you wanted to date somebody, you called a girl up on the phone, that still was an analog moment, because she was hearing your voice and trying to figure out how to get off the phone as fast as possible. With texting, you can be led down that path for longer because this digital thing is almost it's like sanitizing your interactions.
Yeah.
So when we kind of get together as a group, like if you go out to dinner with 2 other couples or whatever, you think, oh, well, that's social, that's face-to-face. But that is such a small microcosm of what's necessary to combat what's going on in our society. You've got to get together in groups, hopefully without the tri-pointed hats and and flintlocks. And meet people and bounce from person to person as opposed to from web page or Twitter feed to Twitter feed. There's something we're losing, and we're losing our analog social skills.
And learning to look in a person's eyes when you have a conversation and to feel okay about that.
Oh my God, your eyes are so
right?
They're blue.
Thank you. Right? I know.
Glowing.
Glowing, yes. She's
glowing.
That's what that study is talking about. Those kids are not learning those skills. So then 25, 30 years down the line, when you have 2 warring sides of 2 countries come together to sit in a room to find some common ground, and you can't even really look each other in the eye?
Right.
Wow.
One tweet to rule them all.
Right.
It'll
So
be
final thought on
fascinating.
that, I think that's a great way to wrap it up, is we even see this now with our political leaders, Rouhani in Iran tweeting at the State Department. But it's like, guys, maybe in a room do this. Like this, everyone thinks it's so great. Look, they're tweeting at each other. It's the greatest thing ever. But actually,
Meaningless.
it's totally meaningless.